Okay.
You have lived in Scotland.
Yeah.
You have lived in Chelmsford.
Yeah.
And you're currently living in London.
For 2 months. Yeah, I lived in Northern Ireland in a care home, unfortunately. Yeah.
We are not going there today. No, not. And now you're in London.
Let me take some water for that. NHS pass written there.
Hi guys, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name. You said it before.
Hey, stop that.
Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel. So this is going to be a very short video. I don't want to talk too much, and Danny has been on the show. I think this is the third time he's been here, so there's no need going about and asking you where you are from and something, because there's already a video on the channel about that. So I'll leave a link if you want to know more about Danny, who he is, something about his nursing career. I'll leave a link of the video we had a couple of months ago here so you can watch. But today Danny has a very peculiar story. He's going to tell us more about it. Yes, Danny, you have lived in Scotland.
Yeah.
You have lived in Chelmsford.
Yeah.
And you're currently living in London.
Yeah.
And we're just going to talk about the cost of living in all these three areas, so that if you want to move to Scotland or Chelmsford or London, he has experience of all these three, so he can tell us, so that based on the kind of person you are and what you're looking for, you know which of these places to move to. Okay, so Danny, welcome back to my channel.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, I'm glad you've decided to come on the channel again.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Scotland.
Yeah.
How long were you living in Scotland? How long were you in Scotland?
Forgot one thing. I lived in Northern Ireland for...
You lived in Northern Ireland?
For 2 months. Yeah, I lived in Northern Ireland for 2 months.
So you've lived in Northern Ireland for 2 months?
Yeah.
And then you've lived in Scotland for...
Scotland for 1 year, 6 months.
For 1 year, 6 months. And then you've lived in...
Chelmsford.
Chelmsford for...
Chelmsford for 2 years.
2 years. And then you've been in London for...
Since September and counting, so...
So about 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. This will be interesting. I can foresee. Why were you in Northern Ireland for 2 months?
I'm coming to UK as an overseas nurse. I need to undertake osce examination.
Yeah.
And the company I was working for, I don't want to mention them. They had their headquarters in Northern Ireland.
Okay.
The OSCE training center was in Northern Ireland as well. So,
but you know, you've given out all the information they need to know. You're not going to mention them, but
don't worry.
All the keys you're giving,
I just don't want to.
Everybody
mention
will know. Okay, fine.
That's fine. I went to Northern Ireland purposely to prepare for my OSCE and then to write.
So that's why you were there for 2 months.
Yes.
So over there, were you in like a B&B, like a bed and breakfast, a hotel, an apartment?
I hopped from hotel to Airbnb, bed and breakfast. I was in Belfast and then I went to Bangor by the sea.
By the sea.
It's a nice place actually, holiday destination. Yeah, I stayed in Northern Ireland, prepared for my OSCE, and then had my OSCE at Ulster University in Londonderry. Yeah. So after my OSCE, came back to my assigned workplace in Scotland, Glasgow. Work in Glasgow in a care home, unfortunately. Yeah.
We are not going there today. No, not today.
Yeah, I worked in a care home for 1 year, 6 months, and then all those experiences. Moved to NHS in Chelmsford. Should I mention the name of the hospital? No, I'm not going to mention the name. I just left them as well. So I worked in...
That means he's just not a stable person. That's all.
It's not really
conclusion.
Like... You know, sometimes you're looking for the most suitable place. You need to search till you find.
So you keep hopping. Okay.
The Bible says keep on knocking. So I keep on knocking. But I think I'm pretty happy with this one that I'm currently working. So I stayed in Chelmsford working A&E for 2 years. Enjoyed the experience, made a lot of friends. Chelmsford is just outskirts of London, so 45 minutes driving, I'll be in Chelmsford.
Okay. So
worked in Chelmsford for 2 years and then just relocated to
London. So how much were you paying for your place in Northern Ireland for the 2 months? How much did you pay?
It was funded by the company, and
but do you have an idea of how much it was?
It was hotels, Airbnb, and bed and breakfast. So hotels were maximum £50 maximum a night. Airbnb it can be up to like £30
a night. Okay.
It wasn't much.
So you're not in like an apartment?
No, I was in an apartment because it was a temporary solution for my osce training. Most of my colleagues were going to work in Northern Ireland, so they were all females, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't have much of a problem when it comes to where they're going to stay for the osce training.
But for you, I
had to stay in hotels and Airbnb while I was preparing for my osce.
In Scotland, what kind of place were you living? Was it an apartment? Was it a terrace house? What was it, and how much were you paying?
It was a 1-bedroom flat. It was a nice place, actually.
How much were you paying for it?
I was paying £400 exclusive of bills.
400. And what kind of bills were you paying?
I was paying council tax.
How much?
You don't pay council tax.
No, I don't pay.
That's good for you.
So you pay council tax in Scotland?
In Scotland, yeah.
How much was it?
It was, I think, £115
a month.
A month, yeah.
And then you were paying for water and electricity.
That's for 10 months. The council tax is you pay up to February.
In Scotland or everywhere?
I think over here as well. You pay
in a year you pay for only 10 months.
They give you the figure like £1,200 and then the direct debits will be 10 months. Yeah, so that you get 2 months free before you start the new financial year.
Okay.
So I pay council tax and I pay gas and electricity. I paid gas and electricity was £40. It wasn't much. I wasn't using much gas and electricity.
But you were alone. So your 400 apartment, it was a single room apartment?
1-bedroom flat.
1 bedroom.
It contained.
And it was finished?
It wasn't finished. It was part finished.
Partly finished. Okay.
So I had to buy my own bed, my own furniture in the living room, and pretty much everything I needed. The only thing that were provided was in the kitchen. You had the fridge and freezer,
and the washing machine.
Washing machine was there, and then the oven as well.
400 for single. I think it's fair. I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
So comparing cost of living in Northern Ireland to Scotland, which one would you say is it more expensive?
I didn't rent in Northern Ireland.
But from what you've seen and from what you've heard, what would you say?
In Scotland, I was in Glasgow, so it depends on where you are.
Okay.
So if you are in the city centre or the more urban areas, you find accommodation.
In Scotland, the most expensive place is Edinburgh.
Yeah, Edinburgh is very expensive.
Okay.
Because of that's the capital.
The capital of Scotland.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a bit expensive. Glasgow is also expensive because it's another big city. When you take Edinburgh, that comes next. Most people fight with me over this, but Glasgow is pretty much big and busy as well.
Okay.
So it's a bit expensive.
Okay.
As well.
But not as much as Edinburgh.
No.
So you moved to Chelmsford when you wanted to join the NHS. And how much were you paying for your Chelmsford place?
It was a 2-bedroom apartment. I was paying £820 a month.
For the 2-bedroom?
For 2 bedrooms, yeah.
Okay. And then what other bills?
Pay council tax. Council tax was pretty much like £130.
Okay.
£130 direct debit per month. Electricity was £70. Gas and electricity was £70.
Okay.
You combine gas and electricity, £70. Gas and electricity, because it's the same provider. It was easy to switch over to. I used the same account, so switch from Scotland to Chelmsford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they just changed their meter.
Would you say Scotland is cheaper than Chelmsford?
No.
Chelmsford is which part of England? Southern.
Chelmsford is the capital town of Essex. Essex.
Okay.
It's like a borough in England.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cost of living, Scotland and Chelmsford, which is cheaper?
I would say Chelmsford is expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah. That 2-bedroom apartment I got in Chelmsford, I can get it for like 600.
In Scotland.
Yeah, in Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're in London.
Let me take some water for that. Yeah, London.
Okay.
Most people ask me
why are you not stable? You are not stable. Why have you moved so much in this short while?
So moving from Scotland to Chelmsford, I wanted a different kind of experience, and if you go back to my previous interview, I wouldn't want to go into that kind of war with care homes, so I wouldn't mention it, but I wanted to work in NHS, specifically accident and emergency. So that's why I moved to Chelmsford.
And now you've moved here because of marriage.
Yes, marriage and then work. So we could have stayed in Chelmsford, but I decided to switch to intensive care unit, critical care nursing, and that's something I wanted in the long term. So this was the opportunity for me to move. So I decided to move to London.
And how much are you paying for your landing apartment?
It's £1,350. Yeah, I know.
Damn.
I know what you're thinking. Yeah.
And you're paying council tax?
160. Yeah, £160. Yeah.
And gas and electricity 60.
Yeah, 60.
So in all, rent plus bills.
Do you want me to add a car loan?
Add what?
The car loan.
No. That's rent.
So 1,600. Yeah.
You regret moving to London based on the cost of living in London here? I will say that this place, you have value for your money. I haven't been to so many apartments in London, but with what I've seen here,
you came to my apartment in Chelmsford.
Yes. No. Yes. But with what I've seen here, it's value for the money.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It looks new. I don't know if it's a new build. It's really nice. And
it's a very classy.
And it's classy. Yeah. Like, it's a gated community, guys. He had to use his remote to open the what's it called? The barrier before I could enter. It's nice. Yeah, I think it's worth it, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I think it's worth it.
I love the experience so far. Staying in London. The only thing I don't like, or I don't enjoy about staying in London is driving. I do love driving, but I don't get
to drive because
much because of
it's cheaper to use the trains and
it's cheaper to use public transport in London.
Yeah.
So you get to park your car. That's one thing on the downside, but you have to get used to public transport. So
now you've parked your car and you're taking the train.
Yeah, parked my car, but I still do drive for extra shifts in other hospitals outside London. Yeah, I do work agency outside London, so those shifts I do drive.
Out of all the three places, if somebody is confused, if let's say I'm a single person, I've gotten a job offer in all these three areas, I'm torn, I don't know which one to choose. Where would you advise? I'm a single person.
No, you forgot Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I'm asking. Out of all the four places. No, because you couldn't tell me exactly how much Northern Ireland. So, okay, let's say all the four places.
So it depends on the individual. If you want to explore, not feel bored, feel like happy, I would advise you to come to London. London is for like single persons, like even couples who don't have children, but when you have children, you might want to look outside of London because of raising children in London, and then because of...
Is it because of the crime rates in London, or
no? There's
the busy nature.
There's crime everywhere, but raising children, the kind of influences, external influences in London is so huge and so bad. So most people or most families would want to raise children outside London, but other people will still want to raise children in London. It's their own choice.
So out of all the places, which one is your favorite in terms of cost of living, being like affordable?
Cost of living?
Out of all the places. Guys, the reason why we didn't talk so much about other things aside rent is the rest of the things are nearly the same. Because groceries, if it's Tesco in Scotland and it's Tesco in London, the prices are nearly the same.
But one thing, if you want accessibility to, we Africans, and if you want more African shops where you can get groceries, I would give it to London because you find lots of them.
It's bigger, so definitely there are going to be more African
and it's
markets.
Cheaper as well.
And it's cheaper. That's true.
But with other shops like the supermarkets like Tesco's and other
everywhere.
ones, it's everywhere. So the prices are fairly the same.
You can't eat your cake and have it. You have to sacrifice one thing or the other.
Okay, so I would give it to London.
It's because you're here now, right? It's because that's your current situation. That's why you're choosing London.
It's not because of that. In London, it's expensive. In NHS, you get extra allowance. It's not even in NHS alone. Even private sector, you get extra allowance to cover for the high cost of living in.
So in Chelmsford, you were with NHS. How much was your per hour rate?
It's very, very small. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was being paid like £13
per hour.
Yeah.
And then here in London,
I've not received my first salary. So,
but what have you had?
In my contract is 31,000 minimum. The maximum is 37,000. So maybe 16, 17.
And now,
yeah, it's because of the number of years of experience in NHS and then moving to London. If I was in Chelmsford, I would be taking like £14 per hour. But in London,
it's about 16.
Yeah, because of the high cost allowance that I'm getting aside my basic NHS
rate.
salary. Yeah,
I see. You'd say for a single person, you said the person should come to London.
Yeah, come to London, explore.
But for family, because of influence, external influences in terms of raising kids, you choose.
Yeah, I would choose to stay outside London. If
outside London,
yeah,
but not Scotland.
I would consider Scotland, but
not Northern Ireland.
Definitely not Northern Ireland. Definitely.
Why not?
So
he is against everything. I'm for Northern Ireland. I'm for care home, and he is strictly against all those things. I don't know why.
I want the best. I would say I want the best.
What the hell do you mean by that?
So I don't know. You came to London and you're enjoying it so far.
I have wasted so much money. As I talk to you now, I'm thinking about how much I have left in my bank account. Like I am so pissed.
But you've had so much fun.
It's okay.
Yeah, you know.
I've had fun because, like, I know people here.
Yes, and your mental health is very, very important.
That's true.
Especially in this country.
Maybe if I was living in London, I wouldn't have maybe seen you in, let's say, 8 months or a year. We are both busy. We are doing our shit.
Of course, that's
the
lifestyle we have in UK.
So if you talk about mental health in terms of meeting family and friends, I could be here and then my mental health could still be at stake, like because of our busy schedules, we'll still not make time for each other. But because I have traveled all the way from Northern Ireland to London, I'll definitely make it a point to come and see you. You understand? Do you understand?
It wasn't because of just family alone that I was saying that. You know, you can go out to like various types of restaurants, various like tourist centers.
There are restaurants in Northern Ireland.
You wouldn't get the variety that you would get in London.
That's what you think.
No, it's what I've experienced. Yes, for this you know, the experience is different. Living in London, you get this cosmopolitan, people from various
parts of the world.
So you get different kinds of like food, restaurants, like
so many things.
There's a lot of things to explore.
So that means it exposes you, and then you learn lots of things as well.
Yeah, and you know, there are a lot of things you wouldn't see in Northern Ireland and Scotland that you would see here.
Let's talk about the weather. Which place has the most favorable weather?
Northern Ireland, rainy most of the time.
It rains all the time in Northern Ireland.
It rains almost all the time.
Almost all the time.
Scotland, in between, it rains most of the time as well, but it's cold.
Scotland is colder. It's the coldest of the four. Okay.
Scotland is cold. Chelmsford is a bit colder. London
is warm. Because of all the sun here.
But I would give it to Chelmsford.
In terms of the weather?
Yeah, because it's a bit of
in between. Okay.
So I stayed in Scotland for a while and then I got used to the cold weather. I loved it. Then moving to London is like a bit extreme, but it would take time for me.
Let's talk about the people. Which people are the friendliest?
London.
Are you serious?
I would say London.
Which people discriminate most of all the 4 places you've lived?
I would say Scotland. Like
okay. Okay.
Scotland, yeah. As in Scotland, they would find it difficult to live there, especially if you are a single African living amongst a lot of white people. There are a lot of things you wouldn't feel comfortable doing, especially I was the only black nurse in my care home, and it was horrible.
I can't imagine. In terms of the accent, which people are the easiest to understand?
So let me tell you this, you know, back in Ghana, we used to watch movies and, you know, British English, the kind of English they speak.
Like a supporter.
Coming to UK, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm coming to the Queen's land and I'll get to hear people speaking in English.
Yeah.
You know, I come to Scotland. I wouldn't talk about Northern Ireland much because, you know, it's pretty much of similar to Scotland, but Scotland's a bit extreme. So come to Scotland and then the language they're speaking, I ask them, is it English? They say yes. Oh my goodness. It's difficult to understand. And so
what people don't know is they think it's UK, so the language is the same. It's actually not the same, guys. People in Northern Ireland have a different accent. People in Scotland have a different accent, and those in London have a different accent.
Even in England.
In England, several places.
Go to Manchester is different. Go to Liverpool is different.
It's different.
So,
but the ones you hear in the movies are the London
London.
Like the London accent.
Essex too has nice accent. It's similar to London.
The London accent. But
So,
trust me, you won't hear what the Irish people are saying, like Northern Irish people are saying.
Welsh accent is also kind of
Also,
difficult.
yeah.
So Scotland, it was hard for me to understand what they were saying. So what helped me was I'll just watch you speak. They like to speak a lot as well. So they speak, and then I'll just watch them and then catch, some few things
keywords in it.
Keywords, and then this is what the person means. Then I'll say okay. No, they don't say okay. They say I. So yeah. So Scotland was different. The language is difficult, but I came to London for a visit, and I loved it.
You loved it. Okay.
You meet a lot of Africans. The language they speak real English, like the kind of English that you watch on the screens back home.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to move down south.
Okay, now let's wrap up. In terms of cost of living, you chose...
I'll still choose London.
You choose London?
Yeah, I choose London.
In terms of how friendly the people are,
London.
You choose London.
Yeah.
In terms of how easy the language is to be understood, you choose London.
London and Essex.
And Essex. You've not lived in Essex.
Chelmsford is
Essex. Okay. And in terms of the weather, you chose Chelmsford.
Yeah, I chose Chelmsford.
So for Northern Ireland and Scotland, forget us.
Northern Ireland, okay. I'll come to visit you. And then, Bangor by the Sea. It's a nice place. Nice.
Okay, so for tourist sites, you choose.
Yeah, I'll choose tourists. No, just holidays, not like to just relax. I'll go to Northern Ireland for holidays, and I'll go to Edinburgh because I still have some friends in Edinburgh and Glasgow. Yeah.
And in terms of public transports, London.
I don't prefer public transport. I would love to drive.
Which of the areas has like the most accessible transportation system?
And it's cheaper. So yeah.
I think that's it. Anything else you want to add?
If you're a single person, or if you are like
looking forward to meeting people.
Yes, and a couple who are not having kids, and you want somewhere, you want to, make good money, fast money, come to London, work, get the money. If you don't prefer to live in London, you can just get the money and then buy a mortgage outside of London. I wouldn't also discourage people who live outskirts of London.
You can't discourage us, my dear.
Yeah, so those of you living in Northern Ireland, we just need to shift some things. If you want some things to buy, like I don't know. I wouldn't want to discourage people living outside.
Oh, we are fine. You can't discourage us.
You can
live
enjoy.
In London here. I'm giving you 2 years. You're going to come back on the channel to sing a different tune. You'll be regretting, and now you'll be saying that.
Maybe I would move to a different country. You never know. But in UK, London is a good place to stay. I would give it to London.
Okay. So I think that's it. Yeah. So guys, thank you for watching. Now he's told you what he likes about each place, in terms of how friendly the people are, in terms of how nice the environment is, in terms of the cost of living, in terms of the weather, in terms of all these things. So based on what you like and what you want, you can look at all these things he's speaking about and then make a choice. So Danny, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
I hope people pick something from it and then like it. So guys, thanks for watching. If you have lived in any of these areas and then we forgot to say anything, kindly comment below and then let us know what you think. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao. Menya content. Menya content.
Well done.
Menya content.